Hi, I'm Ernie Zor on behalf of Pure to Spring Software, and this is the 35th video in our Frequently Asked Questions series. It's about losing information. It involves a rookie mistake, but the last time I looked, rookies didn't have an exclusive license on doing stupid things. They can happen to anybody. Bad things happen, but you work in a law office, so you already know that. Don't despair. Misery loves company, and so I'll confess that it's even happened to me on rare occasions. But to new users or users that don't know the tricks, it happens all too often. And what makes it even worse is that these types of users don't know why it happened, so it happens to them over and over again, and they don't know how to avoid it. I'm going to explain how to avoid it in this short video. How often does this happen? Well, I work with over 9,000 offices, and probably that incorporates about 20,000 users. And I can count on getting this call at least once every month. So it may not be a frequent thing, but it is a regular thing. For this video, as you see, I'm going to be using our, I hope it is, yeah, our probate application. But this video could apply to almost any program, and so it applies to almost all users and applications. Although I want to say a little bit more about that later. Just to clarify, I have a pretty busy desktop, and I didn't want you to be distracted by it, so I maximized Notepad in the background so I can get a nice white backdrop, in case you were wondering. All right, let's get started. As I said, I have the probate application started. I don't have a file opened. How can you tell? Well, you look at the title bar. That's this bar up here. It's kind of white. You don't see it. It's the same color as the menu bar. But they call that the title bar. And it will tell you the name of the file. If it says untitled, like it does now, there's no file opened. Most programs work this very same way. So there's a rule here. Always look at the title bar to get your bearings. Okay. Now, you could watch me fill out the general information worksheet, but instead, I'm going to open a file that I created for this demonstration that has the worksheet filled out already. Here it is, YouTube FAQ 35. There we go. As you see, the general information worksheet is filled out, but nothing else is filled out. Now, in a law office, you might have started with a new file, completed the general information worksheet, and saved the file by giving it a name. That part really doesn't matter. What matters is I got a file open, there's information on the general information worksheet. Take a look at the title bar. You can see the file name is up there. That's how you know what file you have opened. Well, what happens next? Do you know what interruptions are? Yeah. There's one now. I'll bet your law office has plenty of them. An important telephone call comes in, or a client with an emergency walks in the door. You know how it goes. Anyway, what happens when you're interrupted? You minimize the application, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, through the miracle of YouTube video editing, we're going to imagine that some time has gone by, the interruption has done its dirty work, the phone call is over, or the client interview is over, you're ready to return to work. I'm going to restart the application. I want to open that file that we were looking at. What was it called? It was called YouTube. There we go. I'm going to open it up. Going to go to the KIN worksheet, which there's some automation to the KIN worksheet, so you notice that the applicant and the spouse are already filled in automatically, but let's just pretend that I'm going to add a whole bunch more. Whoops. Yeah, okay. Child 1, 1234 Main Street. Not too much imagination going on here. Cleveland, Ohio. All right, I'm not going to fill all this stuff out. I'll check mail. And And let's just imagine I put like 10, 20 of these in there. So I will close the worksheet, and I will save the work that I've done. Yeah, you know, I should ask you if you notice that I'm in the BP. Again, you can tell what file I'm in. I'm in that FAQ 35, the one I've been working in all this video so far. Yeah, I know what I wanted you to notice is that you see down here, very slick. If you're not looking for it, there's a kind of an outline around the probate icon. And so what happened in this confusing moment that I had back there is that, and this happens in law offices, I opened that file again, and now I have 2 copies of that file open. Now, in the old Windows, you used to see 2 icons on the taskbar. You don't see that anymore. You see this feathered edge or this shadow around the icon, and that lets you know if you hover over it, you can see that there's 2 of them open. Okay? Anyway, this is the one, yeah, right, where I put the kin thing in. So I'm going to close the worksheet, save it, get out of there. I'll go back to doing my thing in the office. You know, what happens next varies. You can come to the end of the day, you can be working on something else and notice, hey, I thought I could shut this down. Here's the probate application. It's still on. I'm going to save it like a good guy and exit. And do you know what just happened? If you're catching on, you probably realized what just happened. Let's take a look. I'm going to start the probate program up again. I don't have an icon on my desktop. Doggone it. I've been starting it up by going to the right to where the executable is, which you will never do, by the way, but okay, there it is again. And we're going to open FAQ 35. There it is. You go to your next of kin worksheet and say, there's my, hey, wait a minute. Where did my 50 next of kin names go to? And then typically you would call technical support and say, this, you know what usually happens in the asset worksheet, and the asset worksheet doesn't have any automatic entries, so it's actually empty. And they'll say, hey, I lost all of my support, not support, my asset items. What happened there is when you have 2 of them open at the same time, it's the last one to save rules. And if you noticed, I opened that second file up. That was a copy of the FAQ35 file. And I made some changes in it. I saved it. I got out of it. And then later on, I was actually back in the first copy that didn't have anything on the worksheet. And by closing and saving out of that, I erased the one that did. That's the best explanation I can come up with, and that, I feel, is, you know, it could happen to anybody, and when you look there and you find your 100 canceled checks that you put in the expense worksheet are all gone, that's the part where you start, you know, cursing like an angry sailor, and I don't mean shiver me timbers, but anyway, I hope that I explained this good, and that is one more mystery solved here. I don't think I was going to say, I can explain this one more time. I had 2 copies of the same file opened, and the last one that I saved erased the first one. I suppose I could say I had a 50-50 chance of closing the right one last, but in this case, I would not be inclined to buy lottery tickets today because I didn't do that. Note that some programs don't even allow this to happen. Others do. If you're wondering why this never happens in your word processor, for example, it's because most word processors, not all, but most, if you try to open a second copy, it won't let you. It'll give you a warning or a message saying something like the file is locked, or it might say, hey, we're going to open this file, but it'll only be read-only, you can't save it. So if you do a lot of work on the computer, and I'm sure you do, then I'm also sure that you've seen this message before. Well, that's it. This music that plays in the background is my signal that my time is up. By the way, very special thanks go out to those of you that subscribe or follow our video channel. It lets us know we're doing something useful, and it makes us feel good to know we're helping you. So thanks. Finally, if you're an attorney or you work in a law office, there are dozens of Purity Springs demonstration and frequently asked question videos that are directed especially to law offices, so be sure to take a look. Until next time, on behalf of the Purity Springs Software family, I want you to stay healthy and happy, and I wish you all the best. Take care.